what you could have done from that point to get ahead?
It doesn't ever matter how you get there. Of course, there's things that we're going to look at and try to get better so we're not down, 17. But at the end of the day, it's a 2-point game, and we had our opportunities there. We struggled to contain Mitchell, obviously, down the stretch. He made some tough shots. He did what he typically does. We threw, 2 or 3 things at him, and he still was able to negotiate and manage and find some airspace. So we'll get to work. We have a couple days, and we just got to figure it out. There's a couple, games where we're right there, and now we just have to figure out how to get it over the top. It's going to take more. It's going to take collectively us, digging deeper, and we have respect for who they are, what they can do, but we have to be better.
You obviously didn't end the way you guys wanted to, but what did you guys do better to have that third quarter and the fourth quarter to get it down to 2?
Well, we had more consecutive stops, and we just kept on digging. That for us, that creates momentum. I know everybody says that, but for us, it definitely does. And then we were able to generate some good things, going down the other end. Tyler was really good. I thought Bam's competitive spirit all night long was exactly what we need from him. And Nico gave us a real good boost. Offensively, we just look different when he's on the floor. He creates some stress with his skill, and I'm pleased that he was able to play those 24 minutes. It's a credit to him putting in all that time conditioning, the last month or so.
Thoughts on the lineup change? I mean, obviously it seemed apparent, but going with Davion and shaking things up when he'd been so good as a sixth man, what was your thought?
Yeah, just to there's a couple different factors with that, but wanted to be able to organize ourselves offensively at the start a little bit better, get Tyler off the ball, Wiggs off the ball, and then obviously some defensive presence. His competitive spirit on the ball was very good all night. And you're dealing with 2 guards that can put a lot of pressure on you.
There seemed to be an emphasis from the start to generate more threes. Were you happy with the outcome process today?
Yes, some of the spacing that led to turnovers, we have to clean that up. And look, each game is different. This is what this game presented, and we have to be able to take open shots, create open shots. If those shots end up being the 3-point line, you take them. If they end up being at the rim, you take them. In a playoff game, if they end up being somewhere in between with the right guys, you might have to take those as well. We just have to consistently get to our wheelhouse more often.
And their 11 threes in the second quarter, is that just a point where, I don't want to say throw your arms up in the air, but when they're shooting like that?
No, you never do. You got to keep on. You have to stay the course. You have to become even more stubborn. There was 4 of those, I believe, that we defended really well, and we closed out, and we contested. And they made those. And then once it got to 7 or 8, I think those last 4, I think we were discouraged, just for a short period of time. And this team, they can make shots. You just have to be relentlessly consistent and stubborn. You have to continue to make those efforts and close out and get a hand-to-ball contest, even if they make 4 or 5 in a row. Then that means you have to show even more resolve. And so that's what will get better. Those whatever it was, 4, I just remember those were not the same efforts, and we'll clean that up.
You talked about after last game about trying to get Tyler more involved in the crunch time offense, and we saw, ironically, Davion seemed to run point almost exclusively, but Tyler's motion, both towards the ball and away from the ball, seemed to finally create those advantages you guys were looking for. So what were you looking for there?
Well, it's tough to just run a direct play for him, against this defense. So this is something we've had to develop for a few months. getting him off the ball, creating some overreactions, become a lot more, patient in that game, and it opens up a lot of things for us. Might be different next game.
The decision to go without Andrew in the fourth quarter, they're not even sticking with him.
Yeah, I mean, we'd taken it all the way to 2. I thought about it. I actually put him at the scorer's table at 6 to go, and the group wanted to keep on pushing through. Stayed with it, but obviously, he'll be very important the rest of the series.
How important was Jovic's just kind of like more quick and decisive decision making?
Yeah, that's who he is.
Yeah.
He's been, just a big time boost for us off the bench, all year long. And he's a dynamic player. So we just look different. He's on the court. He makes quick decisions. He's got a great skill level. He's got size. I'm pleased that he was able to play these 24 minutes in a playoff setting, which is probably like 45 minutes in a regular season. He's been grinding the conditioning to prepare for this.
So much of the conversation before the game was game 2 Spo. You just have a consistent ability to get your teams to turn things around after the game 1 loss. What is the key to being able to bounce back, both like emotionally and execution wise?
That's the deal. We have to. We'll get to Miami. We'll get to work. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Erik.
As far as down the stretch, I think they just made a lot of tough shots, and you got to live with that. So from that standpoint, we get home, figure out how we can get 2 at the crib.
That second quarter, they set a playoff record for the most threes made in a single quarter. Was that a matter of you guys giving them good looks, or were they just kind of hitting tough shots in that stretch?
Hitting tough shots, obviously. Coach wants us to run them off the line, so we got to do a better job of that. And we just got to go down when we get a stop, go down and then convert.
Nico closes you guys' first game into the Cleveland 2 months, played 25 minutes on the playoff game. What did he add that maybe you guys have been missing?
I mean, he just adds that dynamic as a quote unquote big. Being that he can also space the floor, but also run the point. Get guys in the triggers, and obviously, he can knock down a couple shots.
Your goal was to get 1 here in Cleveland. Obviously, go back to Miami down 0-2. What's the approach now as you head back home and you try to get back in the series?
I mean, get home, get a great cooked meal, and you go out and try and get you 2 at the crib.
I don't know if it was asked.
Yeah.
Leave you encouraged that you're that close to getting over the hump, or does it leave you discouraged that for all of the fight you still wound up short again?
I think neither, honestly. We lost the game. I don't think there's any moral victories in this, honestly. But you can take some things, the positives from this, and try to carry it over to Game 3. And again, we'll watch film, put a game plan together, see what we can take from this game and carry over to the next. I thought we came out better tonight. We had a better disposition on both sides. But we're going to need that for a full 48 minutes. We can't have lapses where we're not fully engaged or getting shots on goal, or that disposition that we talked about has to be there the entire game.
What can you take from it in the second half? You talk about carrying things over. What can you take from it in the second half?
We'll watch film and see what we did well. It felt like we were running a little bit more, obviously getting stops. When they were making every shot, it felt like in the first half it was it's tough to kind of run and get out in transition when they're making shots and we're not getting stopped. So I think that's the main thing that I took away in the second half, was we were able to get more stops and turn that into 3-on-3s, 4-on-4s that we can generate some easier baskets.
Coach said one of the reasons he started Davion was to get you off the ball, as has been the case often this season, to make it a little bit easier or less difficult on you. How helpful was that lineup adjustment, and what was it like playing with that dynamic tonight?
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, Davion, he's on the ball not only on offense but defense as well. He's a point of attack defender for us. We still had some miscommunications on the switches that we can clean up. We got to get that together, obviously, sooner than later, or we'll be down 3-0.
Offensively, though, did that help you? Was it maybe you were talking about sort of having to do so much in game one? Did it make it a little bit easier for you to get to spots playing with Davion?
Yeah, for sure. They're denying me the ball and trying to keep a body on me. And I think if I can get up the court earlier without having to bring the ball up, obviously that saves some energy.
Nico closed with you guys tonight. What did he bring on the stretch that you guys have been missing?
Yeah, we miss Nico. Obviously, his size, his versatility on both sides of the ball. He's a really dynamic player, and just happy to see him back out there. Honestly.
We talked after last game about how you were kind of stuck in the corner of crunch time because you were kind of the second side action.
Mhm.
So what did you guys do differently, trying to get you in the initial point of the action and keep you involved?
Yeah, I mean, just playing off the ball helps a little bit, so I can, create different overreactions from the initial point of attack, whether Davion's handling or Nico or Bam tonight. Trying to create a miscommunication, and then I can kind of play off the catch in that first side action. And then sometimes the ball just finds me in the end of the shot clock, and I have to go create.
Spo was just talking about overreactions per you. That's like the same word he used. How often do you guys talk about that? Like, how much are you seeing that becoming like the star in the face of the offense is a lot of the time trying to create those overreactions and open things up for everybody else?
Yeah. I've had to learn that, slowly as I've gotten more older, more mature. Obviously, I want to score, but sometimes just running off the ball and creating those overactions allows my teammates to get easier baskets, and then from there I can kind of open up for myself. But definitely trying to create those overreactions is a big part of what we're trying to do right now. Good.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.